Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tracy Justice, and I am the Be Bold coach and consultant. Now, as a Be Bold coach and consultant, I help I help my clients connect with who they are now and who they're becoming in the midst of them endeavoring towards their heart's desires. So, what does that mean? So, maybe you're looking to start a new business, or you're looking to, or maybe because it's election year, maybe you've been bold and you've recently, um, ran for an office, and you're feeling like you're going to win. And maybe you want to come up with some goals. You want to really solidify who you are, get in touch with who you are. Or maybe, you want leadership development, relationship management, communication skills, whatever those desires of your heart is. We work on a plan on helping you figure out, how to get from A to B. But my focus is on who you are now and who you're becoming in the process. Why? The late Dr. Wayne Dyer has been famously quoted for saying, "You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are." Right? Like, who you are being in this very moment is what's really, really important. So yes, we plan goals, we plan for our future, but at the end of the day, the future is an illusion, and our past is an illusion. The only thing that really matters, or that is real, I should say, is now, this very moment, what you're doing, who you are, who you're being, how you're showing up, right? And I work with you on that. And so I help you develop practices on how to stay present, how to be present and leverage your energy to create the life that you want to live. If you want to learn more about, the bold life, Be Bold coaching, and what that's all about, check out my website at www.beboldbu.com. Again, that's beboldbu.com. Or you can also reach me at tjustice at beboldbu.com, tjustice at beboldbu.com. Right. So welcome to the Bold Life Livecast, a test drive series. I am celebrating today. I'm sorry, I'm shaking my camera. But I am really celebrating today. Why am I celebrating today? Because August 10th is when, let me move my teacup away. August 10th, and I will share the screen. August 10th is when I decided to launch the Bold Life Livecast. And when I was doing that, at that time, my mindset at that time was that I wasn't really sure how this was going to turn out. I really wasn't sure what I was going to really do with all of this. But I knew that I've been wanting to do this for such a long time. And I just didn't really know how opportunities were going to present itself. And so I decided, let's just create a show. Let's just do it live. Okay. Well, actually, because I did try to create, but I was creating recorded videos. And in those recorded videos, and in trying to edit those recorded videos, I was just having a hard time being able to actually release the videos and actually let it go. And so I decided, because I'm a procrastinator, well, not a procrastinator, because I'm a perfectionist, because I tend to have perfectionist ways, perfectionist tendencies, that, when you really understand the science behind perfectionism, you understand that it's really a form of procrastination, right? And because that form of procrastination was holding me back, I was just unable to really break through. And it came to me one day, as I was really thinking about, like, okay, how can I really, really take a chance on myself and really be bold? Because I'm the Be Bold coach, and how can I really be bold with this vision that I have in dealing with that obstacle, that barrier that I was dealing with? And so the only way was to just do it, was to just break through and do it. Did I have everything all figured out? No. Do I have everything all figured out now? No, I still don't. But am I having fun? Yes. Do I feel free? Yes. It has created a level of boldness that I wasn't even expecting to attain, but I've attained. And just by taking a step, just by taking this step. So I came out, I started this August 10th, and originally I told myself I was going to wait until November 2nd. I was like, I was going to end it by November 2nd because next week, going on vacation. And so I said, you know what, just try it for this, because that's what I told myself at that time, right? To give myself courage, to give myself courage. To give myself courage. I was just telling myself, like, just do it for a month or so. Don't you're right. Because sometimes when you create these huge plans, when you create, like, you have this idea, you have this goal, but when you make it too big, you don't follow through. Right. So I just wanted to spend some time with that bold move challenge. It's because of that bold move challenge that I'm able to do this, that I'm able to feel the boldness, the confidence, just the drive to try new things. Am I worried about having everything perfect? Not as much as I was before. Like, there is a part of me, I'm not going to lie, that when I'm planning, I do see like this perfect picture. But then, just so that I have an idea of where I'm trying to go, but then I'm open and I allow myself to just really go through the journey, because it's really about the journey, not about the destination. You think it's about the destination, but you'll get to that destination, right? Like, you'll get to that destination and you won't always feel that fulfillment that you're looking for, because it's really not about that thing. It's about who you are in the midst of you attracting what you're looking for in your life. Right. So today, before I get into the topic, so today I just wanted to just celebrate that out loud, put that out into the universe, that I am grateful for the opportunities that this life has given me. I'm grateful that I'm able, to be bold, and take a chance on myself and move forward, because life is about experiences, right? Because when you experience, that's where abundance is. So let's get to the topic at hand. And so today we're talking about what is belonging. What is belonging and how to create a culture of it. Now, why did I choose this topic? Here's a funny thing. A while ago, maybe about 3 years ago, at least 3 years ago, I didn't really know anything about diversity, equity, and inclusion. No, I didn't. I would say it's because I got involved in HR that really opened up my eyes, or really opened up this whole new world of information that I did not know was out there. So what does that say? That says that there was a lot of organizations that were not engaging in diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice, right? Which is really interesting. But I didn't know anything about that topic. And so here I am in an HR position, and there is, the George Floyd situation occurred. And as an HR director, it was like, okay, Tracy, we need you to write a letter or write something to the organization. And I would say at that time, that's when I was just really, really, really stuck. Like, that was my first really introduction to this type of work. And I'll be honest, I wasn't comfortable with it because I didn't know what it meant. Like, I didn't know what that was supposed to mean for me to do as an HR director. And so when I think about the word belonging is a new word that's part of the diversity, equity, inclusion library. And I think a lot of people don't even really get the diversity, equity, inclusion part, to even understand what belonging is. But what I feel that I bring to with my level of exposure to diversity, equity, inclusion, meaning that I feel like I have fresh eyes into this world, and just being able to read it or understand it, and then really see how I identify with it. And I can see why diversity, equity, inclusion, this DEI work has been around for so long, but really hasn't taken into organizations. So I would say a lot of people don't understand what it is, and they don't really understand what to do with the information that they get. And so I feel like what I bring into this, not only is it a fresh perspective, but I do appreciate the coaching perspective when it comes to this work, because I believe that DEI is really about self work. It's about self reflection. It's about taking that information, all the information, whatever trainings that you're being taught, and being able to understand how that impacts you, how your life intertwines, entangles with that topic. Because this work doesn't only cover, the color of our skin. It doesn't cover just only sexuality. It doesn't cover just the basic things like, the loudest people in the room that tend to, talk about their issues. Sometimes these issues are the issues that overcrowd, overwhelm, and people don't really understand how it affects everyone at a self-individual level. And so this topic of belonging, what is belonging? Belonging is where, when you come into an organization that embodies belonging, that means you feel welcomed, you feel accepted. You feel accepted in the place. I apologize. Let me turn off my phone real quick because I forgot to do that. And before my phone goes crazy. Okay, I apologize for that. So when you think about belonging means I get to be myself and I'm still accepted. In whatever place, whatever organization that I'm in, whatever circle that I'm in, I feel welcomed. I feel welcomed not to be assimilated, right? Like I don't have to be a mask. I don't have to have a mask to feel welcomed. Is that I'm welcomed as I am, for who I am right now. Belonging. How powerful, especially when when we're talking about quiet quitting, quiet quitting is really a big thing that, most organizations are talking about now, but how interesting that it's really nothing new. It's really nothing new. People have been quiet quitting for a while. And what is quiet quitting? Quiet quitting is a new term that, that is being used when we're describing the workforce, when we're trying to describe the climate of the culture. Usually, and quiet quitting is a description, means that you have people that are sitting in seats that are, that are in particular roles, but they're not really fulfilling the role to where it was really meant to be fulfilled to. They're there to collect a paycheck. They're doing basic, the minimum, and collecting the paycheck, right? So that's quiet quitting. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. I think that's funny that it's a big thing because it's nothing new. But what are the benefits of having belonging, right? So belonging creates this culture where people can come in and feel accepted, feel like they can thrive, feel like they can, feel like they belong so that they can contribute. The benefits of creating a culture that, that people will describe as, this culture is belonging. The benefits of that is that it supports retention. Right? You don't want to lose your best employees. You don't want to lose your brightest talent, right? Well, just real quick before I keep going, I'm going to talk about belonging from two perspectives. I'm going to start with the organizational part because just to kind of drive a point. And then, we're going to really get into the real work that I believe that is necessary if you're really trying to transform or create a new culture or create a culture of belonging. Okay, so this is organizational perspective. So belonging supports retention, right? It also supports recruiting, right? Because people are talking. If they know that your organization, the circles that you serve in, whatever it is that you're trying to bring people into, if they know that thing is a place of belonging, a place where they can thrive, a place where they can bring themselves, a place where they can be authentically themselves and thrive and be able to really contribute based on their whole self, right? Like people are talking and they're like, oh my God, Susie, you seem so happy. Like you're always happy when you come home from work. Like, wow, what's going on? Who do you work for? Right? Because that's usually how who do you work for? Belonging helps with recruiting, right? And then also, I also put in here just because I believe in community advocacy. I believe in getting involved in your community, and before you bash everything, learn how things are done, get involved. And so, I'm all about that, but that's not what this show is about. But just so that that's what I'm just all about. That's that part of who I am. And I believe that when you create a culture of belonging, even in your workforces, so even for a local government office, when you create a place of belonging, you know what you do? You help shape your community by the workforce. Talented people, bright people, people that can really contribute to your organization, contribute to the community. You bring those people in by the type of culture you build within your organization. So you're able to build communities just by belonging, right? Like interaction. We can really take this deeper, but hopefully you can hear what I'm saying and you're going down that path with me, that you can see how belonging, creating that culture really creates a lot. It really attracts people. It really brings people. It also supports performance. If I know that I can be me, then, I'm not going to be worried if something about me looks a little or could be telling a little bit about my life. I won't feel like I have to hide everything. I can just let go of the mask and be free, right? Because when you can't be free, it inhibits performance. Helping your employees to go over and beyond, engaged employees, right? Like you either have not engaged employees or you have actively disengaged employees, not engaged employees, or engaged employees, right? Like when you're looking at employee engagement for your organization, you don't want actively disengaged, and you don't want not engaged. You want engaged, completely engaged, right? And belonging helps with that. So creativity, innovation, collaboration, better decision making. When you create a culture of belonging, you're able to invite more people to the table, right? Like we're talking about diversity. We're talking about inclusion, right? Having inclusive behaviors, having an inclusive environment. That means that you include everyone. Everyone has a voice. Everyone's voice matters at the table. Equity, ensuring that everybody has access to that table. Access for different people will look differently, right? We know that. Access is not always going to look the same. So belonging, creating that culture really creates that space where true diversity can thrive. True diversity can thrive. Now, it's great to know all of that information, right? To know on an organizational level, all the things that we need to do as organizations, as leaders of circles, to create the space for people to come in and to be a part and to engage. And we know that that's important. That's very important. And that's something that should always be done. But at the same time, I feel like there's a piece that we don't acknowledge. The piece that I feel like we don't acknowledge is that self-work. That self-work, giving people the resources to be able to do the self-work, to continue on that DEI work. Because one thing that you'll learn about DEI work, like when you really get involved, and I'm being careful to try to remember to say the words all the way out: diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice. When you get into this DEI work, you realize that it's not just about information, at least for me, because I'm willing to, if anybody has any, opinions on that, I'm willing to hear. But for me, I feel like it's just all about information. And even when we get to unconscious bias or microaggression training, and this is where you learn about the different things that we tend to say that we don't realize that is coming from a place. So we might say something like, I was having this conversation yesterday where we might look at a woman's hand and we might say, "Oh, you're not married?" And not realizing that that's a microaggression. Why is that a microaggression? Because that question comes from a rooted belief that you have. And that question just uncovered it. And it's unconscious, right? So deep down, you feel that every woman at a certain age has to be married. And so when you see a woman who doesn't have a ring on her hand, if you automatically ask that question, then there's a belief that you have, and it's a microaggression because it's offending. There's a lot. This is not a microaggression, but hopefully that makes sense, and you see where I'm going with that. But when you look at the science of microaggressions, you can see where its root begins. The root is in a belief. A root is in a story. There's a story that you believe. But if you're just listening to this information and you're hearing it, but not necessarily applying it to your life, you're not going to really create the change. You're not going to really create this transformative, environment that you want to have. And it begins with self too, because here's the thing, and here's what I believe, and share your comments, on what you believe on that too, what your thoughts are on this particular belief. But I believe in the mirror philosophy. I believe that everything that we encounter out in this world is a reflection of what we're dealing with internally in our inner world. And, at first it sounds crazy, but if you were to write down your story, whatever, let's say something happens today and you're not happy about it. And you're like, that person irritated me. That person did that. If you were to sit down eventually and write down the story of what happened and how it made you feel, you would see that some of the stories, some of the things that you write in, how you felt about the incident probably, could be debunked. But one thing that can't be debunked is how you feel. How you feel can't be debunked. So then that means that place of origin is within you. That feeling is within you. It originated within you. Nobody can do anything to you that isn't already within you to deal with. You have it there. It's something, it's an issue that you're dealing with and somebody prodded it, somebody poked it. And typically in this world of diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice, there's a lot of feelings that we have inside about ourselves, or feelings that we have based on some beliefs that don't really serve us anymore. But it's not for somebody else to do. It's not for somebody else to fix. It's for us to fix within ourselves. So let me just give a little story, just to kind of tie it all to make sense of it. I was in a situation where, and I've told this story before and I'll say it again, I was in a situation where, I'm the only Black person in the office. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of other people that can say I'm the only this, whatever it is in the office, right? But for me, I was the only Black woman in the office. And I just, sometimes it's just hard to say, but sometimes you just don't feel like, you feel like you have to work. For me, I feel like I have to work extra hard. I feel like I have to work double, right? Because there aren't that many of me in the office. Then that means that I got to work extra hard because it's now I'm the only Black girl and they're looking at me. And if I don't do a great job, then that means they're not going to hire another Black girl. So now I got to be extra, right? Because that's just the way you feel. You got to work extra harder than your other counterparts that are not considered minorities, because sometimes they get away with things that you just cannot. You can't afford. I can't afford a slip up, right? That's the way I felt. And whatever, things happened and I'm no longer there. And I was angry. I was upset because I was just like, why did this happen to me? I'm tired of this, the injustice in the world. I'm tired of people judging me, or, people treating me differently than they treat other people, and then not be able to recognize it for themselves, where I have to go tell them, you treated me differently than you treated that person. Yes, you did. And they don't see it. And, and you got to fight all this fight. And then I decided, you know what? I'm tired of fighting this fight of wanting to force people to see me the way that I want to be seen. I was tired of it. And it was like through this journey of coaching, also realized that it's my power. It's my power not to give it away. So if I don't feel like I belong, that does not belong to somebody else to fix for me. Yes, I believe organizations do have that responsibility to create that space. But at the same time, I believe that the same work that needs to be happening simultaneously is that self-work that each individual has to do. How does that self-work begin? It first begins by looking at what story of belonging are you telling yourself? Like what's happening there? If you don't feel like you belong in your job, at your whatever circle that you're in, even at home, your relationships, whatever it is, if you feel like you don't belong, where is that coming from? Right? Like that's the first thing. If you feel like you've handled a situation with maybe, or let's say you're a leader. Let's say you're a leader and somebody told you that you made them feel like they didn't belong and you feel like it's not true. How can you look at it as a leader and say, okay, this person says that I did not make them feel like they belonged. Where is that coming from? How does that make me feel that somebody said that? Do I feel like I help people belong? Do I accept myself? What areas in my life am I not, accepting myself and I'm not allowing myself to belong in? And maybe how am I projecting those you don't belong feelings onto someone else? I know, really deep, really deep, really deep. I believe that it's self-work. It's about looking in and trying to figure out where is this energy coming from and how can I figure it out in my own life and figure out what my relationship to that thing is. But I believe that there's two things that have to happen at the same time. There has to be that self-work and there has to be that organizational space for it as well. There needs to be two things happening all at one time to really create the impact. So if you're thinking about how do I create a culture of it, begin with self. What is your relationship with belonging? Define it for yourself. And then what is your relationship to that definition? And then another great way, I think a great tool for leaders is to use micro affirmations. Micro affirmations. What are micro affirmations? These are intentional acts, intentional gestures of where you are interacting with individuals just on a very micro level. It's nothing big. It's nothing grand. It's like, hey, Susie, how was your weekend? I know that you said, you were planning to have this great party. How did your son's birthday party, turn out? Because maybe Susie's been talking about it all that, during the week. Just little ways of how can you connect with someone different, somebody who looks different than you, who thinks differently than you. What are little small intentional acts that you can commit to that are intentional? Because here's the thing. If it's not intentional, you're going to say the wrong thing and just be ready for the learning experience that's going to be presented to you at that moment. Right? So you always want to be intentional. Always want to be intentional. But the best way to create that culture of belonging is to be belonging, is to know what belonging means to you. When you know what belonging means to you, you'll have a better understanding of how to be intentional, of how to help other people feel like they belong, especially when it matters, especially when it matters. And it should always matter. It should always matter. But you know what I mean? Especially when you need to be intentional, because people don't remember the things that you say. They remember how you make them feel. And belonging is a great feeling, right? Like if every time I come into your presence and I'm talking to you, I feel like I belong. You make me feel like I'm seen and heard. That's an awesome feeling. That's an awesome gift that we can give to each other, right? So now I'm down to the minute. So I just kind of want to close off. So I might go over a little bit and I'm okay with that, but closing off. So back to the Bold Move Challenge, because I'm changing it. Like, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to tweak it for the next time that I come on. It might be November 16th. But I just wanted to take this time to just say thank you for those of you that have watched my videos, for those of you that have, engaged with me on social media. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, because this Bold Move Challenge just has really, right? Because as I'm trying to fight back tears, because I don't want to be so sentimental, but this Bold Move Challenge has meant so much to me. it has helped me just learn so much about myself that I just didn't realize that, that I had, like, I mean, just ideas that came to me that I don't think that I would have ever thought of if it wasn't for this Bold Move Challenge, being able to challenge myself and challenge, my ideas on my speaking abilities. I would always say, well, you don't know how to talk, or, just the things that we would tell ourselves. And sometimes the best way is just to do the opposite of what that negative self-talk is saying to you, because sometimes that's exactly what it is, that you're just getting the flip side. Sometimes the flip side of the coin is presenting itself to you for you to have the opportunity to realize that there is another side. You may not always be happy, right? Like, because happiness is something fleeting. But my hope and my prayers for all is that you find that place of joy, that you're able to find that place of joy, and you sit there and you dwell there and you live from that place where you're impacting. Not only are you creating change in your life, but you're creating change in other people's lives just by connecting, just by meeting them, just by talking. I think it's the biggest deal. I think that sometimes we spend a lot of our time on looking for these big, huge plans, when it's not about the huge plans. It's about the smallest things that you can do. How can I touch another person and brighten up their life, brighten up their day? How can I do that? And I think that that's what it's about. That's what this Bold Move Challenge has been for me. It has helped me come out of my shell and really see sides of myself that I haven't seen. But you've got to take a chance. You've got to take a chance on yourself. You just got to. If you're waiting for somebody to open that door for you, you'll be waiting forever. You've got to learn how to open the door for yourself. You might try to open that door and you're like looking crazy, right? Like you're banging at it, and that's okay. Open the door and go through the door. Create a door for yourself. Because I'm telling you, this is the time. If you're waiting for somebody else to just tell you it's okay, I'll tell you it's okay. It's okay. But let that person that moves you be your own voice. Because when it's your own voice, you keep going. You don't need somebody else's voice to keep you going. But it has to be your own voice. And that's what this Be Bold coaching is all about for me. How do you build that strength, that confidence for yourself, and ground yourself and know who you are so that you can move forward for the goals that you have in your life? It's not about those things, and you'll eventually see. It's about who you think you are every time, every step that you take. Who am I? Every step that you take. That's where you're building your confidence. Who am I? Who am I? Every time I take a step, am I confident? Is this me? Is this who I am? Does it align with what I believe in? And sometimes when things don't align, we ignore it and we just keep moving and we put our heads down and we hope that life will change, but life will not change. It'll rear its head right back at you and say, who are you? And you have to deal with that. You have to face that. It's not scary. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful transformation when you really know who you are and you move forward. Then you realize that everything that you're wanting in life, you already have because you're fully equipped. It's about you knowing who you are. That's what this journey is about. Who are you? Because everything about you is attracting everything in your life. How you see yourself is attracting the friends that come to you. Who you are means everything. And I just hope, because I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Bold Life. I'm not sure what I'm going to come back with. I'm just excited because everything is at my fingertips. There's so much possibility in the air, but I'm always going to be the Be Bold coach. But I hope my prayer for you is that you get a chance to really sit down and think about your life and really reflect over the things that, that make you who you are. And be honest with yourself. Are you connecting? Are you connecting? Are you living the life that you've been wanting to live? Or are you settling? I mean, this life is yours to choose, to live, to create in, but you have to be willing to be a willing participant in your own life. Don't wait for somebody else to create anything for you. It doesn't matter who gets elected. It doesn't matter who's in office. All of that stuff does not matter. It's just something that people are doing. The real thing that matters is who you are and who you are being right now. That's all that really matters. Who you are will take you to where you want to go, but you have to commit and connect to that right now. And so thank you for watching. Thank you for, supporting. I hope that everything that, that you're looking for in this life, that that you just move forward for it. Move forward, move forward, move forward. So I am going to end this because sometimes I like to act like a preacher and get to preaching. And honey, we don't know when this will stop. But truly, as you go on through the day, I hope that you think about some things that probably challenged you and you journal it for yourself. But with love, with so much love, because love fuels us, love gives us the energy to be strong. With clarity, because clarity gives us direction, right? Because you don't know where you're going unless you know where you're going. You have to see where you're going. And then confidence. I hope you get up and move because it's time to move into action. Stop sitting. Stop sitting. Stop letting it sit on your back burner. Stop waiting for a day. Stop waiting for something that's never going to really happen. Who are you and who are you now? What are you doing now to make your dreams come true? All right. So with love, clarity, and confidence, be bold. And my gosh, be you. All right. Bye.